We're all familiar with 3D space. Clearly, we can move around like this. We see that this is going to, the horizontal axis is X, the depth axis in Max is Y, and the vertical axis is Z. In other environments, such as Unity, Z will be the depth axis and Y will be up. World space is measured off of a grid. So you can see the grid pattern here behind us, and I've just put in these lines to make it a little bit more clear. But this is what's referred to as world space. In Studio Max, we can choose other types of coordinate systems, such as we have world space here, but we can also do local, and we can do grid, and we can have other kinds of alignments. If everything is aligned with the world, then world space is going to work just fine. And by default, what Max does is use something called view. If I were to go back to here, and we look at this, and I just select this object here, you'll notice that the X is horizontal and the Y is vertical. But if I go over to the front view, notice this hasn't changed. Well, this is clearly not aligned with the world, but it is aligned with the view that we have, or our camera view. So, in most cases, working with view or world is not going to be a problem for you. However, when we get into other things, such as working with a particular object that has been rotated, the world orientation or the view orientation isn't going to help us. So in that case, it might be easier to switch to local, in which case, notice that the alignment of the axis is going to be according to the object itself as opposed to the world. If I come back to this one, notice that it is aligned to itself, but it is also, the object itself is aligned with the world, so we don't really have the issue. When we lay out a scene, we're probably going to be more concerned with getting it aligned to the world. However, when we're creating a model, it's usually easier to align an object with itself, especially when we're dealing with the components of the object, such as the vertices, or the edges, or the faces on the object itself. I've used the teapot here simply because it's an icon for 3D Studio Max that has a good story that I'll skip for the time being.